All right, everybody. Welcome back to Sports
Welcome
Live.
back, everybody.
It's the Wednesday extravaganza. We're talking Titans with the voice of the Titans, Mike Keith.
Oh, wow.
Great to have you here, man.
It's great to be here. Great to be. You know, we're close.
Yeah,
now.
we're right.
They're
there.
here. The players are here a week from today.
That's amazing. All right, let's talk about this offense. Particularly, let's start with Marcus Mariota. You got to start with the quarterback. He admitted last year, he had some problems with his footwork, and he's been working on that. He was a little banged up last year. Had a subpar season, stats-wise, more interceptions than touchdowns. What do you expect from the Ocho this year?
I think the part that jumps out to me first and foremost is that he's had a healthy offseason. And it was funny because Marcus battles injury all offseason. He's coming back from the broken leg, and then he hurts a hamstring at Houston, which really slowed him down. It was funny because Corey Davis is battling a surgery, coming back, gets started, and he hurts a hamstring. You just wonder if those players, because they're working so hard to get back in the rehab, if sometimes the quick motion of it that they've missed in the offseason is something that limits them in that way. But Marcus is
because it's one thing to be in shape, but it's another thing to be in football shape.
Well, to make the because you play for 8 to 10 seconds and then you stop for 25 or so, whatever. I think his health and seeing his health. Seeing him be able to move, seeing him embrace this offense, seeing how engaged he's been in the learning of this offense, how much control that it seems like he's going to have in terms of decision making, what they're trying to do to make the receivers play faster and him make the choice about where the ball's going to go, and the receivers not having to think as much as maybe they have been in the past. A little bit of the newer style offense in that way. The reason a guy like Cooper Kupp could come in as a rookie and play as well as he did for the Rams in this offense a year ago under Matt LaFleur.
Yeah, he was terrific.
He was terrific, and I just think they're going to utilize all of the weapons. They're going to play faster from a standpoint that they want to get to the line fast, snap the ball fast, so you don't have as many opportunities to react to what their sets are.
Right.
It's fun to watch. It's fun to watch what they're doing, and it's been fun to watch Marcus's reaction. And he wasn't perfect in OTAs. He had a couple of days where it's like, But it was like then he came back and he would fight back, and you could see him going up against this defense, being challenged and challenging them. When we were good here, that's what happened at practice.
Sure.
Steve McNair had days at practice where it's like,
Well, that's if he practiced.
Right. But there were days against Greg Williams' defense he didn't have a lot of fun.
Yeah.
That's the mark of a pretty good football team.
Yeah, no question. All right, running game. DeMarco Murray announces his retirement last week, so.
And I say good for him. That makes me so happy that a guy walks away with health and with money. And DeMarco Murray is going to be on TV. He's going to be a superstar.
He's a polished, well-spoken, good-looking guy. He's a smart guy.
Listen,
he's going to have a good life after football, don't you? Don't you feel?
I don't want to see DeMarco Murray, and I didn't mean to interrupt, but I wanted to say this somewhere, so thank you for giving me the chance.
Sure.
I don't want to see him be the third running back in Buffalo who's inactive on game day. I want him to go on and do something else. And Peter Sermon was a guy who did the same thing. He had a really good, I think it was literally a 7-year run. He could have gone somewhere and covered kicks and made $1 million a year, and he said, you know what? I want to do something else. He gets into coaching, and now he's had a successful college career already.
Right.
He's going to be a head coach. DeMarco is going to be so good at what he does. Walk away while you still got it.
Right.
You've made some bucks. I have a hunch DeMarco's taking care of his money.
He seems like that type of guy.
He seems like that type of dude. And so, for me, good for him. Yeah. I'm so happy, and he made a difference in our franchise.
You know what? He really did. He changed the culture.
He did.
His professionalism, the fact that he came from, Cowboys were a winning organization at the time. He had won an NFL rushing title, and he came in and basically he's taught a lot of guys how to be a professional, how to deal with the ups and downs, and really I thought he changed that locker room.
He did a great job and played good football for us, played winning football for us. Even last year when it was clear he'd lost a step, he still did good things, and how he conducted himself was still the right way. Your comment about him being a professional is 100% true.
All right, so the show must go on. Derrick Henry looks like it's going to, all you Alabama fans out there, you're going to get your wish. Derrick Henry's going to be the main cog in the Titans rushing game. But you bring in a guy like Dion Lewis, a guy I covered at the University of Pittsburgh. I think the world of this kid, a tough, durable, smaller guy, but he can help you in the passing game. He's a willing blitz pickup guy. He can run the ball. He can, he can
run inside.
He can run inside. He's a nightmare on, in the slot for safeties and linebackers. This is a good get for the Titans getting Dion Lewis.
There's no question. And Dion Lewis we were worried to death about him in the playoff game. And he caught 9 balls and, broke a tackle in the open field and made a big play in the game and then ran the football very well. I mean, he turned out to be, I was told going into that game by the members of our coaching staff who were sort of getting ready, they said, this guy's really good.
Yeah.
He's not big, but he's strong, he's difficult, he's hard to find. And he was everything he lived up to being. And when I saw the football game go down the way that it did, exactly how they had described it, I came away incredibly impressed. So when the Titans had a shot to get him, especially with the contract they got, which is very reasonable for where he is, and he's the perfect complement to Derrick.
Yeah.
I thought it blew me away. I couldn't have picked anybody else that I would have chosen to come in and pair with Derrick Henry.
Offensive line back intact all the way across the board. Of course, Jack Conklin coming back from that serious knee injury, suffered in the playoff game. I'm guessing he won't start camp 100%.
Or start camp at all.
Yeah.
Will he start on PUP? I guess we'll find that out probably next week. And then, so does that mean Dennis Kelly plays right tackle? Obviously, the one thing is still hanging out there, although I think that's going to get done. I'm very optimistic.
If it doesn't get done, does Taylor report to camp, or do you think he'll hold out?
Well, he's played the I'm not coming in thing. So does it go?
I mean, he skipped the mandatory minicamp.
He skipped the mandatory minicamp, so he's played that card. Does the card go the other way where they say, we're not negotiating with you unless you're here?
Right. Yeah.
So I don't know. I'm still optimistic because they were talking. I think it'll get done. The Titans want him back. He's important. He wants to be here. He loves being part of this community, being part of that locker room. When you've got all that, I think it's going to be okay, even if it's not for a while.
What about this wide receiver room? There's a lot of young guys there with not a lot of NFL experience. Corey Davis, finally caught fire towards the end of last year, started most of the season injured with that hamstring injury. Tajay Sharp is going to be coming back. We've got Rashard Matthews, who's kind of a proven guy. But what do you overall make? Are there enough playmakers and guys that can stretch the field and make big plays in that wide receiver room right now as we speak?
Yes. I think with Corey Davis, I'm a real firm believer in Corey Davis. I'm a firm believer in Taywan Taylor, too.
Yep, I failed to mention him. Thank you.
From where he started in the offseason to where he ended was dramatic. At first, he was kind of having some little, what am I going to do here? And by the end of the 9 weeks, he was fantastic. He works at it.
Yeah.
This is a guy who ran 4.5 at the combine, but has run as low as 4.33. I think he's more toward the 4.33 than he is the 4.5. So he gives them a different sort of speed. Davis gives them a different sort of gear. And then you have Matthews, you have Campanaro, who is a really veteran-type player in the slot. Tajay's the wild card. Where does Tajay fit?
Yeah.
How does Tajay fit? Because Tajay's not a guy who's going to play special teams.
Right.
Obviously, Corey's not going to play special teams either. So how many receivers can you carry? But then you factor that number with how many receivers are you going to carry that don't play teams? Yeah. So, I mean, Tajay could be a big factor, but I think he's got to hit it very quickly.
Well, when all else fails, just throw it to Delaney Walker, right?
Why not?
The ageless wonder. That guy's incredible.
You and I will retire in 30 years, and they'll still be throwing to Delaney Walker.
And he'll still be jacked to the gills.
Yeah, he's like 67 years old.
With an 8-pack.
Yeah.
John's on line 2. What's up, John?
Yeah, y'all answered most of my questions. But anyway, I was wanting to know, maybe elaborate a little bit more on the rest of the running backs. I really don't have that much of clue except for Derrick Henry, and I know he's a bomb, but anyway, if maybe you could talk a little bit more,
Be happy to.
elaborate a little bit more on receivers. And that's all I wanted to know, and I'll let you go.
Thanks.
All right, thanks for the call. We appreciate it.
The running back situation, I mean, we've hit on Lewis, we've hit on Henry. David Fluellen is, I think, as quality a football player in terms of what you have to be if you're going to be a backup in the NFL, because he plays special teams.
Right.
Because he can play fullback. Because if you got in a situation where you had to hand him the ball 20 times in a game, he can do that. Flu's a good player.
Yeah, and he's a good guy, too.
He's a good guy, and he helps himself because while he's battling for a spot at running back, he's also battling for the 6th wide receiver spot, or the 4th tight end spot, or the 11th DB spot, whatever the numbers are going to be. But when you're getting to the 53, there's a good chance you're going to keep him because he can be active on game day due to what all he can do.
Right.
So I think he's important. Akram Wadley from Iowa, really nice back. Really good player. Still surprised he didn't get drafted. He and Dalen Dawkins are going to battle to be on this roster. They can keep 4 running backs because they won't keep a fullback. Right. Stocker will probably be the guy who lines up when they use a fullback, and he's a tight end. So they could keep 4. Dawkins an interesting player, too. His dad, Ralph Dawkins, played at Louisville, was a really good back at Louisville. And his uncle...
I think I remember watching him play.
Yeah, he's a good player. Yeah. Played in the league for a little while. Yeah. His uncle, Brian Dawkins, is somebody you might remember a little better.
Yeah, he was pretty good.
Going to Hall of Fame
this year.
August 4th, yeah.
Listen, as a Giants fan, he made a lot of Sundays miserable for me playing for the Philadelphia Eagles. So, yeah, I know Brian Dawkins very well. So.
Wide receiver Jordan Veazey. Deontay Burnett, guys like that are going to have a chance to compete as well. Nick Williams, a guy they brought over who's been in the wide receiver room for Matt LaFleur at Atlanta. Brandon Shippen played for LaFleur in Los Angeles last year from January through the end of August, so he knows the offense. They're looking for a little spark to get a little more competition, but do they keep 5? Do they keep 6?
Right.
Is there somebody who's not been signed yet that might be a part of that? It could be.
Des Bryant's not coming here, is he? Please tell me that.
I'm not saying.
Please tell me Des Bryant's not coming here.
I'm not saying no. I mean, you wouldn't think so, but with John Robinson, you never say no.
John, if you're listening, it's JB. Don't do it.
But again, where does Des play here?
Right. Exactly.
I mean, in terms of the breakdown, whose spot does he take?
I think he's done, and I think he's bad for that locker room.
Well,
in my opinion.
And the question is, can he run anymore?
Right, and I don't think he can. He can't get separation. He was bottled up one-on-one.
Well, and you think you've probably seen this movie before.
Yes,
here,
with Dre Johnson.
With Andre, who couldn't get away from anybody. We saw it with Eric Moles. We saw it with Randy Moss. We saw it with Carl Pickens. Listen, if he was still the guy, Des Bryant, that he was,
he'd be on the roster right now.
He'd be on Dallas's roster.
Exactly.
They'd find a way.
Because Jerry didn't want to let this guy go.
No. And that doesn't mean, now, does he still have something? He may well still have something, but is he the exact same guy?
Yeah.
And he's not cheap.
Yeah, exactly. And it's very priceless to spend time with the Vought, Mike Keith.
So nice.
We'll take another break, and when we come back, I want to touch quickly on the defense. Got some calls as well. Stay with us.